The challenge of digital marketing. Many of us got into digital marketing thinking it was going to improve our lives in major ways. You may even feel that you were promised by internet marketing gurus that your life would suddenly be easy once you took up this line of work. Digital marketing means working online, and that in turn means working from anywhere and without a boss. So of course, life will be easy. You can choose your own hours. You can work out of coffee shops or from beautiful locations. And you can do it all your own way, without someone breathing down your neck and shouting at you when you get things wrong. What's more, if you manage to achieve a passive income, then you'll be earning money even while you sleep. Passive income means generating cash from a website or a YouTube channel or through affiliate sales. It means that even as you are resting, the seeds you sowed continue to reap their rewards. So you can take time off whenever you want. And let's not forget that during all this, you will be discussing things that matter to you. Things that you are passionate about. Things that you can't wait to leap out of bed to start writing about. That's the dream of the digital marketer. Oh, and you're rich too. Dreamer, meet reality. The question you should be asking at this point, though, is that if it is that easy, why isn't everyone doing it? The answer is that, of course, things are actually a fair bit more complicated. Because most people don't wake up one day with a website getting thousands of views a day and generating solid passive income. In fact, no one manages to do that. Instead, it takes a lot of time. Likewise, it takes a lot of time to build a massive mailing list that you can use in order to make money from affiliate marketing emails. It takes a lot of time because it simply takes that long for a site to take off in a big way, or for anyone to collect that many emails. But likewise, it also takes that long simply to learn. You'll start off with your internet marketing venture not really knowing what you're doing. You'll make mistakes. You'll build a brand that you'll be embarrassed of in retrospect. And if you're anything like the vast majority of today's most successful internet entrepreneurs, then you'll probably end up scrapping your first few businesses and trying again. Trust me, I work in the industry and I know some of the biggest players very well. None of them got it right the first time. They all floundered at first with non-starter ideas and brands. That will be you. Trust me. And this is when running a business is not easy and is not fun. This is when digital marketing is hard. You were told you would be able to give up your job and start working from home right away. You were promised the world. Instead, you've done nothing but work your socks off, staying up late and giving up your free time, only for nothing to happen. And that can be crushing. What's more is that many internet entrepreneurs will never quite achieve passive income anyway. I consider myself an internet marketer, and yet a large portion of what I do involves working for clients. And let me tell you, if you work for clients, then you might as well work for a boss. Even the nicest client in the world is going to expect you to honor your deadlines to at least some degree. Even the best gigs around will sometimes involve writing about topics you hate, or designing sites that you don't massively approve of. How about all the times you don't get paid? Or the times where you're between clients and the money just isn't coming in? And when you work from home, how do you prevent yourself from going entirely mad? You know, even when everything is going well and you're getting paid for doing work that you enjoy, how do you avoid the temptation to sit in front of the TV all day? Likewise, how do you avoid the temptation to not stop working when it gets to 5 p.m.? How do you avoid the temptation to squeeze in just a bit more work and a little bit more, especially if you're getting paid by the word or by the hour? How do you manage your finances, knowing that you're always going to have different amounts of money coming in at different times? Do you have what it takes to do your own taxes? This training is here to answer all those questions for you, because there are two types of entrepreneurs. There is type A, who looks like $1,000,000. They have coiffed hair or luscious locks. They are dressed in a sharp suit. They talk with authority. They go on lavish holidays. Everything they say is genius, and it's clearly apparent why they earn such a high salary. Type B, though, is the other kind. Type B is the kind who is always overworked, the kind who is effectively broke, the kind who is scatterbrained because they're basically too stressed and overworked to give their everyday lives the necessary time and attention. Type B is far more common, but the job of this training is to make sure that you are Type A and not Type B. Let's go. Thinking about money and your work-life balance. Let's start this section by referencing another classic book on this subject, The 4-Hour Workweek. The 4-Hour Workweek is a highly successful book from an author called Tim Ferriss. that attempts to teach people lifestyle design. This is essentially the process of rearranging your lifestyle so that it works for you, rather than working for the system. It means getting the system to work for you so that you have more free time and more money as well. The book was something of a revelation and spawned a whole movement of digital nomads who use technology to work remotely and experience adventures across the globe as they did. Since then, it has seen various new editions and sold huge numbers, but it is still mainly only being read by entrepreneurs and budding web marketers. This is a shame, seeing as the lessons it contains can be used by anyone to great effect. Read on, and let's look at some of the best financial tips you can take from it and apply to your life, even if you are happy working in an office. The problem. Tim Ferriss starts out by explaining that not all cash is made equally. Most people measure their wealth by looking simply at the amount they make per month or per year. Tim suggests that looking at the amount you make per hour makes much more sense. In other words, if you earn $40,000 per month but work only 2 days a week, you are in a sense much wealthier than someone who earns $100,000 per month working 7 till 7, 5 days a week. The goal then shouldn't be just to earn money, but to earn money such that it enables the lifestyle you want. You shouldn't be in a position where you can't just make the decision right now to go for a walk. Surely, that is the very most fundamental of expressions of human freedom. This is where so many internet marketers, SEOs, and web designers go wrong. If you're currently selling your services online or building a business, then the temptation is to earn more by working harder. You can work longer hours and thereby bring in more cash in the short term, or build your business bigger. But stop and think for a moment. If you are working 12-hour days, then that means that you're actually earning much less than you might in a regular job. You may as well be doing a full-time job and an additional part-time job in the evening. Your overall income might be high, but your salary is very low. Getting the system to work for you. So, what do? Well, of course, if you're technologically and entrepreneurial minded, then you can set up some kind of online business that will generate revenue for you in a very hands-off manner. That could mean creating a hit app. It could mean writing and selling an ebook. It could mean buying and selling websites for a marked up price, or even using drop shipping so that you don't need to do the work at all. There are countless ways you can make money passively, and by setting up a few, you can leave your days working in an office in the dust. Salary versus wealth. More to the point though, recognize that your salary and your wealth are not one and the same. And on top of that, we shouldn't be measuring our success by our income, which is what so many of us do. If you work in a regular job, then you might think that the only way to become wealthier is to ask for a raise or to get a better paying job. But your wealth is really more about your surplus cash. It's about how much you have in the bank. You could be earning $3 per hour but still be wealthy if you happen to have inherited $1 billion from a dead great aunt. And in just the same way, you could be considered to be wealthier if you spent less. In that case, you might live at a smaller home. You might live in a country where the cost of living is lower, or you might just spend less on food and clothes. Either way, this could allow you to put aside a fair amount of cash every day and feel pretty well off. The great thing about working online is that you do have the option of packing your things and moving to another country. In fact, many entrepreneurs end up moving to sunny countries where they can afford lavish villas at a fraction of the cost. Then again, you might choose to spend every single cent each month and then take out even more loans to pay for the rest. That way you can live the rich lifestyle and feel and look like the highly successful entrepreneur, despite having barely any cash in the bank. It's all up to you. It's all about what matters to you and what's important to you. And that's precisely the whole idea behind lifestyle design. It's about knowing the lifestyle you want, calculating how much money you need to support that lifestyle, and then designing your business around that. Goals. A more specific way to do this is to calculate a minimum amount you need to earn each day. This is what I do. I work until I earn $150. That's the minimum that allows me to pay my bills and to put a little aside each month. I can easily afford to buy myself the gadgets I enjoy, to go out with friends, and to work on my home. But that's me. That's based on my expenses, the cost of my mortgage, the cost of my hobbies and interests. You'll have your own target, and that's what you need to shoot for. Passion versus reality. A lot of entrepreneurs and internet marketers will start out with a dream and a vision, with something that they really believe in and want to make into a massive success. Maybe you have an idea for an incredible website. Maybe you just love fitness and want to blog about that for a living. Or maybe you just get a real kick out of running a business and using technology. Whatever the case, you know what you really want to do, but it's not bringing in the cash, at least not yet. So now you have two options. You focus on the thing you love, hoping that all the time you invest will one day result in it becoming a huge success, or you work on something else that will bring in the cash and promise yourself you get back to your passion project when time allows. Neither of these things is an option. The first option means that you'll work on your own blog or your own mailing list and grow it. Growth will come, but it will be slow, and it won't be enough to sustain your lifestyle. Eventually, you go bust and you'll cave. Even if the site becomes successful, the break-even point will be so high that you will still go bust. Option B doesn't work because you'll never get around to the passion project. The website will sit there collecting dust while, meanwhile, you'll do search engine optimization for clients. You'll earn hundreds of thousands from the work that you do for them, but you won't have the time to do it for yourself. Trust me, I know about this. I used to pay writers to write for my own blog because I was too busy writing for other people's blogs. This essentially comes down to working in your business instead of on your business. The business is operating, but all you're doing is running around chasing deadlines and working for angry clients. Meanwhile, nothing is changing, and you've capped the amount that you can earn at how much you can do in a day. You've learned to loathe your own business, and you're close to burnout. Sound familiar? So, okay, how do you go about solving this dilemma? The answer is that you follow the steps outlined in video 2. That is to say that you need to identify precisely how much you need to earn in a day as a minimum. You can then chase after that target amount, and then you can cut off the day there and start focusing on your own project. Spend the morning doing the SEO, website design, etc. for other clients. Or spend the morning working on your generic website that brings in money but that you have no real interest in. Then, as soon as you hit that threshold, switch and start working on those future projects. Better yet, learn how long it takes you to do that minimum amount of work and then divide your day into blocks. Spend the first half of the day working on the busy work, and then when 2 p.m. comes, switch to your other work, the stuff you're passionate about, the stuff that will take your business to the next level. This is essentially what we call bootstrapping. This is how you can afford to start a small business, even if you don't have any funding or any experience. So many people think that they can't afford to start a business or to become a digital marketer because it means that they're going to need to give up their job, take out a massive loan, and effectively stake all of their hopes on a single idea or business. The reality, however, is quite different. The quickest and easiest way to start pursuing your dream lifestyle as a digital marketer is to start a side project or a side hustle on top of what you're doing now. If you run a website, provide SEO, or generally work online, then that shows you to be a particular kind of person who is willing to take risks, who is forward-thinking, and who is creative. You have taken the initiative to take advantage of the most recent technologies in order to start earning a living entirely on your own, and you have used a variety of skills in order to accomplish this. As such, then, you should hopefully recognize the importance of continuing to push yourself, of continuing to take advantage of new technologies, and of developing your existing skill base further if possible. The more you learn, the more you practice, and the more you experiment, the more opportunities you will create for yourself and the more successful you are eventually likely to be. So what's the best way to develop yourself and to learn? Simple. Take on a side project. And even once you begin to start raking it in as an internet marketer, you still need to have more side projects on the go. Why a side project? The idea of a side project is simply to start any project that sits outside of what you do to earn your main keep. So that means something on top of running your main blog or providing web design for clients. That is what you will do with the extra time you've afforded yourself by working for yourself. Even if you work 9 to 5, you still have lunch and are free to tinker when other people are still busy. A side project, then, should allow you to take the skills you've learned and start developing them and making better use of them. This way, you may well find you create a secondary income that can supplement or even replace your main income. But even if that doesn't happen, you'll still learn valuable skills and add more strings to your bow. Good side projects. A good side project should be something that is somewhat related to your main career, while at the same time allowing you to expand on your skills and move into unknown territory. For a web designer, then, this can mean a side project that teaches you some better coding skills, or that improves your ability to create digital art. This will give you something different to do, to take your mind off your main job occasionally. but will also at the same time help you to develop new skills that might just allow you to take your business to the next level. Some examples: app development. If you run a website or do anything else that involves design and/or basic coding, then learning to develop apps is a natural extension of those skills. This is a fun and rewarding process if you like logical thinking, and there's actually a lot of money to be made here. Whether you have a commercial hit or you decide to start offering that service. A personal blog. There's a good chance that the topic that you chose for your primary blog is going to be one you thought would prove popular and one that was easy to monetize. That means there's also a good chance, unfortunately, that you won't find it particularly fascinating, which is why it's a good idea to run a personal blog as well. And you never know, that one might just take off too, giving you 2 steady incomes. A YouTube channel. YouTube is actually a surprisingly lucrative place to work. And with a few videos, it's relatively easy to gain a following and then to start generating profit from that following. This is a very fun way to make a little extra cash, but it can also add an extra dimension to an existing site or provide more channels for marketing. How to choose between multiple website or brand ideas. So, you're going to find a way to earn some money and meanwhile be working on the dream brand that will earn you a living while letting you write about things that you love. But what if you don't just have one idea? What if you know you want to be an entrepreneur, but you're not quite sure what kind of brand you want? If you're like a lot of web designers and internet entrepreneurs, then chances are that you will have more than one website on the go and more than one idea for future sites that you think could help to make you your millions. In fact, you probably also have ideas for apps, for ebooks, for products, and for media campaigns, all of which you are sure could be the thing that finally makes you a huge success. This won't work either. If you have this many different things going on at once, then you won't be able to dedicate the necessary energy to any of them. Remember, you still need to bring in cash in the meantime, and that means you only have a set amount of time per day to work on your mailing list or your digital product. That means you need to dedicate all of that time to one site, one mailing list, or one product if it is going to be successful. The problem is, though, that you can't stick to any of these ideas. And the issue is not necessarily that you're not motivated or disciplined. It's probably more to do with the difficulty of choosing which project to focus on and then sticking with that. If you have 20 brilliant ideas for a website, then you'll probably find that you get distracted by the next one before you finish the first one. Part of the problem, too, is that building a website can take so long and has so many boring elements. You may enjoy the prospect of building a successful website. You may like designing the graphics. But after hours of doing SEO and fiddling around with CSS to line everything up, you can find your enthusiasm waning. And then there's always that idea for a football site calling to you from the background. And of course, our interests have a tendency to vary and change as well. One minute we find ourselves fascinated by computer games, but then the next we're more interested in our favorite book. We end up wanting to write about and work with a thing that interests us at the time. So how do you overcome this problem? Choose what you should be focusing on, and then stay focused on that project until you see it through to completion. Weighing your options. One initial way to progress is to weigh the benefits of your various projects. Assuming that you hope to earn money from what you're doing, a good way to compare your different projects is to look at how long they will take to complete or how much you enjoy them, versus how much money they are likely to make or how likely they are to succeed. A site on football, for instance, might be your favorite topic, but at the same time, there's a lot of competition out there, so it's maybe less likely to succeed. A new social network, on the other hand, might be potentially very lucrative, but it would involve learning PHP and doing a lot of promotion. The best project, then, might be one in a small niche you have an interest in. It's quite interesting, it isn't too much of a project to take on, and it could realistically start earning you money relatively quickly. This is especially true for those purely passive forms of income, such as selling affiliate products from a sales page and pointing some PPC at it. If this is likely to start paying out soon and it won't need your input going forward, then you should prioritize finishing that quickly and then letting it continue to roll for you. By looking at which project will earn you the most money, quickly and reliably, you can decide where best to direct your efforts and spend your time and thus avoid disappointment. This then allows you to gradually spend less time in the daily grind than is necessary for steady income and to spend more time on the passion projects. Compromises. There are also a number of compromise solutions you can opt for. For instance, if you are torn between two website topics that really excite you, then the best solution might be simply to create one website on both topics. Love video games and comic books? Then how about a site dedicated to comic book computer games? Another option is always to sell on websites. If you are someone who loves building websites and doing the marketing to begin with, but you don't enjoy the process of actually running and maintaining those sites, then you might prefer to simply build sites that interest you and then sell them. This is still always going to be hard. Most of us have multiple interests and multiple ideas, and investing all your time and effort into one website or one affiliate marketing strategy means that you're putting all your eggs in one basket. The fear of failure can be so great that it prevents you from ever really trying. Fluctuating between different ideas on a whim can end up being a convenient form of procrastination in that case. And this is why you need to go for the smallest baby steps to begin with. This is why you need to focus on the types of projects that you can finish more quickly and easily. Why anyone can run a business online. So, pursuing one side project will help you to avoid getting stuck and will allow you to grow your business in a controlled manner. And it also makes a lot of sense from a financial standpoint. If you consider your initial online pursuits to be side projects on top of your main career, then this can give you the time and space you need to work on those ideas while still earning an income. Maybe you've yet to start your business. Maybe you're still considering the idea of launching a business, but you're worried that, you don't have the resources or the skills necessary. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is nonsense. In many ways, running a business is a lot like getting into shape. If you set up your own business and start being a self-made man or woman financially independent, then you will be undoubtedly making your life better, and at the same time improving yourself. But just like getting into shape, becoming self-employed is something that a lot of people dream about, or promise to do, but never actually go through with. They write themselves training programs or come up with business ideas, but then just lay them aside and end up getting on with life as normal. As with training, becoming a successful entrepreneur or startup is all about having the drive to actually go through with your plans. And I'm here to tell you that there's absolutely no reason that you can't do that. The money. Now, the first thing that you might tell me in defense of the inactivity is that starting a business requires money, and that's something not everyone has. Well, yes it does, but that doesn't mean that you can't start working towards it. For starters, not every business actually does require all that much investment. It would cost you barely anything to set up a website tonight and start attracting visitors, or to start making craft animals and selling them on eBay. This is the great appeal of being a digital marketer too. There's no real overhead other than the very negligible price of website hosting. And before you tell me that you need job security, those two examples don't take up any time either. In other words, you don't need to give up your job and pin your hopes on those plush giraffes. You can make them in your spare time and run the website mainly on the weekends. If you make your job fun, then it won't feel like you're overworked. Bootstrapping, meanwhile, is what you call it when a business raises its own funds. It might do this by coming up with two plans and two business models. Doing the first in order to raise some more guaranteed cash and thus hopefully fund the latter, which will be your side project, which is really what you want to eventually be the main source of income. Then there's crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter for earning money from the general public. And there's all manner of loans you can take out. And once you start to make progress, then you can look into getting investment dollars. This is precisely what I was discussing before when I explained the option of having two types of work you do for love and work you do for money. You can work on your new mailing list or internet brand in the evenings when you come home from work and use your regular salary to pay for things like PPC advertising. Or you can provide an online service as a digital marketer to get a semblance of the freedom that comes from being a true entrepreneur. You can perform search engine optimization or marketing for businesses and use the flexibility that this affords you in order to do some lifestyle design and to build your schedule in such a way that you can work on that passion project. Knowledge. The next thing that might be holding you back is knowledge. Business is a term that most of us associate with very serious people in black suits that went to Harvard. And as such, we tend to assume that we're not going to be able to compete with our very little knowledge. In reality, though, the best kind of business knowledge is the kind that you gain on the job. Create a website today and start selling something, and you'll find that you quickly learn what works and what doesn't. Then there's books and advisors for the rest. And you'll find that you become more confident and competent as you build up slowly. And this is one more reason that you shouldn't pin all your hopes on that one venture. It just doesn't work like that. This will take time and effort to work. And in the meantime, you're going to need another source of income. Fail fast. So, you have your main source of income and your side projects, which you're working on one at a time, to hopefully one day sustain you. Gradually, your aim is to spend more and more time on the passion projects and less time on the grind. To gradually become someone who loves what they do and who is a big picture kind of person in their own business. And this is why it's so important to focus on those quick wins early, especially passive income options. This way, you are building up your own confidence to take on bigger and bigger projects, and you're practicing your internet marketing skills in a smaller pond with lower stakes. If your first side hustle involves building a massive international brand, then you'll likely put off doing it because you won't have confidence it can work, and the idea is too scary. The time you do spend won't start to repay you for months or more likely years. But if your first side hustle is to sell an affiliate product from a landing page, that's something you can build in a few days and test. That is a minimal investment of your time and effort, and even if it doesn't work, it will be a good learning curve to help you do it better the next time. If it does, then that's a little more income and a little less time you need to spend performing SEO for clients to meet your daily income target. This is what we call fail fast in business. This is an approach to creating any product or business model that encourages us to create an MVP quickly. This is a minimal viable product, and basically means that you're going to get each project finished quickly, so you can see if it works or not. This is very important for your mental health and for your finances. Spend months and months setting up the perfect sales funnel, and that will be a huge waste of time if it doesn't take off. But make a funnel in a day, and you can always spend more time on it if it turns out to be a big success. So how long does it take? So how long should it take for a website to start earning enough money that you can quit your day job? Likewise, how long should it take you to build a mailing list so that you can make a living purely from affiliate sales brought in via email? The bad news is that it takes a long time. Internet marketing is not the get-rich-quick scheme that people think it is. Rather, internet marketing is a strategy that you can use to make money online only if you commit to the job and keep putting out great content and doing lots of active marketing for a long time. Put it this way, I worked for a YouTube channel with 3 million subscribers. 3 million! They made $15,000 a month from the ads that show it on their channel. Granted, $15,000 a month is enough for most people to live on very comfortably, but it's still not millionaire money, and 3 million is a huge number. With the best luck in the world, you're likely not looking at reaching those numbers for several years. The first year, you'll be lucky to get 10,000 viewers, at which point you'll probably be about $200 a month. The same goes for placing ads on a website. Building website traffic is hard. You'll need to post multiple times per week, do all your SEO, guest post, and even then, you can expect it to take a few months before you have a few thousand regular viewers per week. The problem is that AdSense, the Google ads that many marketers put on their websites, earn a few cents or a few dollars per click maximum. So you need tens of thousands of views daily to make a good amount of money that way. Selling an affiliate product as a proper internet marketer will help you to increase that amount by a large amount. Problem is that you now need to build the trust of your audience, which takes a long time in itself. You can also combine this with other forms of advertising like banner ads, like video sponsorship deals, like alternate advertising platforms. Using growth hacks such as influencer marketing can also help you to get ahead. But the point is that it takes time and it takes money to build the necessary success, and you need to be aware of this. Be a content creator with passion. For a long time, I considered myself an internet marketer, and I also considered myself very burned out. I wasn't earning the truly passive income yet, and I wasn't writing about things I loved either. Then I changed the way I saw myself and started to think of myself as a content creator. A content creator is very similar to an internet marketer. They do effectively the same job, in that they are creating a brand and promoting it online in order to subsequently profit from sales or ads. The difference is that the content creator does this while keeping the focus purely on creating great content, on the brand and on the logo itself, on the quality and value being shared via articles, etc. The content creator is also far more likely to delve into multimedia as a videographer or as an app developer. The marketer creates content, but when you become a content creator, you start to hone those skills, and you place much more emphasis on creating something worthwhile. Not only does this put you massively in demand and massively help to grow your brand, it also helps to improve your work satisfaction. If you can create videos with high production value, then you can build authority and relationships with your audience much more effectively and quickly. If you can create stunning designs for WordPress sites and logos, then you can sell any product far more effectively by selling a dream rather than just an ebook. If your content is passionately written, people will want to read it, and even Google will pick up on signs like reduced bounce rates. Now you'll be in demand as a marketer, because you can offer things that other spammy marketers can't. Not only that, but you will be happier because you will be pouring your heart into something you love, so that even if it doesn't take off right away, you'll still feel rewarded and you won't give up. If you view internet marketing as a get-rich-quick scheme, then you will be disappointed. In all likelihood, you'll create low-quality content and a spam-filled website. Instead, blog with passion, and you'll build trust and become far more effective at selling. Think about all your favorite websites, blogs, and marketers. Do they seem like they're in it to create a quick buck? Content creation with passion. What sets the great blogs apart from the mediocre ones? What makes you bookmark a blog and go back there on a daily basis rather than seeing it once and opting not to look at it again? There are several things that separate the wheat from the chaff, and knowing that difference is crucial if you want your site or blog to fall into the category of the greats and bring people back time after time. But the most important thing of all is to blog with passion, and you will find that everything else is born out of this, right from the heart. Think about the blogs you like, and head over to those sites for a read. What does the writing have in common? Chances are that each of them feel like they're writing to you. They feel like they're enthusiastic, real people who have a grasp on the subject, and that are interested in what they are writing about. These people, by and large, are not blogging because they want to get rich. They are blogging because they genuinely want to write about those subjects. Can you say the same? If you currently write articles by looking up ideas online or on Wikipedia and then rewording what you read, then you aren't really offering anything interesting to the reader, and you aren't entertaining them. Your site will feel lifeless, and if you don't sound enthusiastic, how can you expect your visitors to? Make sure that you want to write each topic, and if you can't find the motivation to write on a particular subject, then perhaps it's time to think about changing the title slightly so that it is more interesting. Keep on punching. If you write with passion and you write from the heart, then this is what's going to keep you going long after you've started to worry that your site isn't going to be a hit. If you can keep writing despite the fact that you aren't sure anyone is listening, then this will mean you're unlikely to ever give up, and it will mean that the site stands the test of time. Otherwise, you'll find that you lose interest in your site as soon as you start to feel deflated. Write for you and not for anyone else, and you will be much more likely to be successful. Be creative. Likewise, your site design and everything else should be creative, and it should look like some thought has gone into it. Did you have a vision and a passion for your site before you created it? Or did you just use the first template you could find? You need to ensure that when someone sees your site, they are seeing something exciting and different, and that has obviously had a lot of care and attention put into it. That way, you will be able to ensure that people realize the passion you have for the subject before they've even started reading. One thing I have never understood is these people who will spend time and energy learning to code and coming up with inventive and ingenious algorithms all so that they can make a spam bot or content spinner. Why not put that same time and energy into making a good site in the first place that people actually want to come to? To do this, you need to love what you do. And if that comes across, then other people will want to visit your site. Put it out there. You also need to be just as passionate with marketing your site, and to do this again, you need to have passion for it. Make sure you are immensely proud of your site, so that you can't help but bring it up in every conversation. Accomplish this, and you will ensure that you are able to market it better. If you are ashamed of your site, on the other hand, and don't want people to see it, then quite simply, you won't promote it as much as you should, and no one will find it. Looking after your health and happiness as a digital marketer. If you work online full-time, then you might not consider yourself in a particularly dangerous line of work. You're not exactly a firefighter or a soldier, but there are still dangers here. They're just much more subtle. Internet marketers don't only run the risk of being highly stressed, they also run the risk of getting badly out of shape and even causing issues like RSI, repetitive strain injury. If you want to be the successful type of internet marketer that we discussed at the start of this training, the one who others perceive as a successful and polished entrepreneur who is going places rather than a washed-up bum who doesn't want a real job, then you need to focus on yourself. Not only that, but it is only by focusing on your own health that you do your best work and stand the best chance of success. Mental health. If you are a digital marketer, then you are an entrepreneur. And if you're an entrepreneur, then, as Tim Ferriss often discusses, you are at a heightened risk for bipolar disorder. This is a huge emotional roller coaster, and you will have days when you have tons of work and all your projects are going well, and days where it all just seems a waste. This is why it is so important to guard your mental health and to look after yourself, so you can continue to do your best work without becoming burned out or giving up entirely. Some things to consider. Make sure that you really do create a divide between your work and your personal time off. That means turning off your phone, having a separate email account, etc. Try meditation. This is fantastic for improving your ability to compartmentalize in your mind and for ignoring things that don't matter when you're not working. Do things you love and do it for the love. Remove the pressure from yourself. Likewise, remove the expectation that you'll be earning millions this time next year. Try to enjoy the ride. Sleep well and make sure you aren't going to bed late. Eat a healthy and nutritious diet. Exercise. This is especially important considering how static a job digital marketing is. Look after yourself. You might be working from home, but that doesn't mean you can work in the sweats all day. Remember the old adage, dress for the job you want. Take care of your appearance. If you don't have time for basic health and maintenance, strongly reconsider your current business model and your work-life balance. The right gear and setup for staying productive. Looking after your health is important, but you can also see considerable boosts in your happiness and productivity by looking at your tech and setup. The right hardware. One tip that I absolutely recommend to all internet marketers, bloggers, and other internet entrepreneurs is to invest in good technology. When you're an internet marketer, you're essentially a one-man or woman band. That means that you are the business. Your passion projects are your R&D, and your equipment is your main computer. If you are working on a machine that takes 5 minutes to boot up, that gets hot even when it is under even a minor workload and that regularly crashes, then you absolutely must upgrade. You'll save a huge amount of time by having a computer that springs instantly to life, and you avoid those painful moments where your computer crashes and you lose all that work you've been doing. But the reasons to invest in good tech go way beyond that. They extend to the simple fact that good tech is more pleasant and enjoyable to work on. When I upgraded to the Dell XPS 15, I suddenly had a 4K screen, a blazing fast i7 processor with a GPU, a comfortable keyboard, and typing experience. All this made such a difference to my enjoyment of work, and that in turn began to be reflected in the work. I worked better because I enjoyed what I was doing more, and because I could run more software more easily than before, more options became available. Building a productive home office. If you work from home, then you're likely to have found that remaining productive and maintaining focus are two of the biggest challenges you face on a day-to-day basis. For some reason, we find it harder to work when we're not actually at work, and this often results in our mind wandering, or us finding procrastination in all kinds of places. One of the best ways to counter this effect is to design a home office that encourages focus, and that we actually want to work in. If you're working from your own home, then you'll have far more freedom in what you can do with your office space, and you should really take advantage of this fact. At the same time, If you work this way full-time, then you're probably going to spend the actual majority of your life at your desk and or in your office. And as such, you should make the most of it by making it as nice as it can be. This will not only improve your quality of life, but will also ensure that you are as productive as you can be, and always doing your best work. Firstly then, make sure that you don't cut any corners, and that you're willing to spend a fair amount on your office to make it as nice as possible. The first place to invest this money is in a new desk, and this will have the biggest impact on your work. The desk should fit with the decor of the room, but at the same time, make you feel professional, and be something you want to show off. Sitting at your desk should feel like manning a spaceship, and if it does, then you will feel good about yourself when you work, which will rub off on the quality and quantity of the work you do. The hallmarks of a good desk are to have as many compartments as possible, to have lots of space for working on, and for having or being a part of at least one right angle. The compartments are important, as they'll mean you don't have to keep getting up to get things. At the same time, they just feel organized. And if you feel organized, then your brain will automatically be more organized in the way it stores and processes information. By right angle, I meant that when you sit at your desk, you should have a surface in front of you to work from and a surface to your left or right. The best options will also have a third surface behind you, or to the other side, or it will have multiple layers in front. On these different layers, you should then organize multiple work or information stations. That means multiple computers or at least multiple monitors. It means lots of places to store ring binders, filing cabinets, and folders. And it means lots of places for you to write shorthand notes to yourself. If your desk doesn't come with all these things, then you can use other smaller tables, cabinets, and shelving arrangements all within reach. The reason that this is so important is that it allows you to work on multiple things at once. For example, you can have one monitor for writing a document, while you have another monitor in charge of showing you the relevant information you need to work on. Alternatively, you could have one of your monitors or computers taking care of your email, so that you don't have to keep checking an Explorer every 2 minutes. Meanwhile, you might want to have a work zone for jotting notes, which will mean you can jot things down as they come to you. By the same token, simply having this many different work zones is another way to make yourself feel professional. And with lots of lights and screens surrounding you, you'll feel on top of things as though you have all the information you need to tackle anything that comes up, and can multitask if necessary. This concept of work zones is the same one that's used in kitchens, and is a great way to stay on top of your work. Another good item to have among these things is a notice board. This will go on the wall behind all of your surfaces, and will be the place to pin up things that you need to remember, which will improve your productivity by preventing you from sitting idly for ages while you rack your brain for what it was you were meant to be doing. Well, this will all look very slick. You should avoid making it look too cold. And a few simple distractions such as desk toys, a cat's cradle, solitaire, etc., can be a great way to prevent yourself from getting more distracted by worse things such as Facebook. And if you choose them well, then they will add to the decor of your work environment. Finally, amongst all this, you should have a swivel chair, which will allow you to spin from one work zone to another without getting up, and to reach all of your storage to get whatever it is that you need. Again, it will also help create that feeling of being at a high-tech workstation, and having everything that you need right at your fingertips. And this will mean you feel on top of everything and appropriately effective. My number one tip for boosting productivity and happiness as an internet marketer, though, is to head to coffee shops. In a coffee shop, you get a change of scenery to prevent cabin fever. You are watched, meaning you can't just slack, and you keep your work and private lives nicely separate. The background chatter of cafe patrons and the smell of coffee all add to a highly productive state of mind. Digital nomad. The digital nomad is a fascinating concept that has only become possible in the last several years. This is a vision of a lifestyle filled with adventure and travel, but funded by a stable income with no risk of going bankrupt. How does it work? Simple. By using computers and other technology, you create a situation where you can work remotely from anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection. Then you pack your bags and travel the world, using your online work to fund your traveling. But at the same time, living cheaply in hostels and other places so that you don't need that much cash to begin with. You can see the world and have countless adventures, and all you need is a laptop. To many, this is the ultimate lifestyle design for the digital marketer, so it seems only fitting that we touch on it here. But is it the right type of lifestyle for you? It's certainly not for everyone. And it's not the only option for true lifestyle design, as some people seem to think it is. Consider the following points before making up your mind. Attachments. The first thing you need to consider if you're thinking of becoming a digital nomad is how many attachments, commitments, and responsibilities you have back home. Technology might give you the freedom to travel the world in principle, but if it means leaving a girlfriend or boyfriend back home who might leave you, then it suddenly becomes a little less realistic. Likewise, you'll have to say goodbye to your friends and family for a while, which is hard for some people too. You can travel with a buddy, of course, but it will be hard to find someone who is willing to drop everything, and even this companion won't stop you from missing the people most important to you. Creature comforts. Another thing to ask is whether you're the sort of person who likes your creature comforts, or whether you think you could live without them. You are going to be staying in some pretty cheap places, and carrying as little as possible on your back. So you should anticipate that you might have to go weeks without a shower sometimes, and that you'll rarely get a nice cup of tea the way you like it. Are you that guy or gal? Tech-savvy and entrepreneurial spirit. Remember, in space, no one can hear you scream. And in the Sahara Desert, there is no IT support. Are you going to be capable of getting your computer up and running again if it goes downhill? Will you be able to buy something that will get the job done in the flea market? And likewise, are you the sort of person who is capable of turning a profit without a boss? Are you disciplined to make yourself work when you could be out exploring a new city? And do you have the creativity to come up with the ways you can make money while you're on the road? Remember, being a digital nomad is just one form of lifestyle design. You may decide that you want to change your life by working online, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll have to go traveling. Think about what works for you, and remember that sometimes fantasies aren't what they're cracked up to be. The program. We've gone over an awful lot in this training and talked about some high-level concepts such as work-life balance, side hustles, prioritizing workloads, and productivity tips. Now let's recap everything we've learned and put it together into a program so you are a happier, healthier digital marketer. If you are an internet entrepreneur or small business, then you will probably often feel as though your resources are being stretched to the point where you're struggling to get everything done. Chances are, you will be juggling multiple tasks at any given time and trying to decide which of your different commitments or side projects should come first. For instance, if you use bootstrapping to fund some of your larger projects, then that will mean you might well have to provide services on a regular basis in order to maintain your funding. Meanwhile, though, if you're doing that, then you will also want to make sure that you actually spend some of your time pursuing those projects that you're more passionate about too, and that could potentially be more profitable in the long term. But then you need to choose which of those projects to invest the most time in, and which to do first, all while completing various administrative tasks and dealing with the other drains in your time, such as, lifestyle design. Key to all of this is to know what you want from life and how your online business fits into this. Do you want a purely passive income that allows you to travel and forget work? Or are you happy to work hard indefinitely, as long as it's on a topic that you enjoy? More importantly, how much money do you need to live? What are your personal aspirations? How much time will it take you to earn that money? What are the different variables you can manipulate to get the lifestyle you want? At the same time, consider what you need to get your internet marketing business off the ground. With all that in mind, you can then work on how much money you need to earn, and make sure that you do that every day. Be strict, and leave time for yourself and for your passion projects. Hierarchy. If you're anything like me, then you will probably have about 20 side projects going on at any one time, as well as your main job and other commitments. This is something that was recognized at the organization I worked for last, where they said to work using the following guideline: family first, then work, then personal development. The family first thing is something that's important to remember when you're an entrepreneur, as you don't want to get so wrapped up in pursuing success that you forget the reason you wanted to be successful in the first place, which was probably to spend more time with your family and to be able to support them. Work then comes before development, which can mean personal development or R&D, because you've committed to your clients and employers when you take on these jobs, and delivering results on time is crucial for your reputation and your continued financial stability. Separating your work. The danger, though, here is that you might end up never actually getting around to the projects that you want to work on, and so fail to make any progress as a business because you'll be too busy fulfilling your day-to-day needs. To solve this problem, a good system to use is to separate your workload into distinct sections that you can then work through in sequence. For instance, you might allocate the first half of your day to your immediate pressing tasks and commitments you have to clients. Following this, you might then divide the next half of the day into administrative tasks followed by work on your projects. This would mean that you'll definitely get time to work on your projects, but on slow days or days when you have a larger than normal workload, your most crucial tasks won't be the ones to suffer. You would then also draw a line underneath your day to mark the end of your working day and to avoid it spilling over into your private life. Your family will thank you, and you'll come into work with more energy and rejuvenated enthusiasm. Organizing your projects. In terms of knowing which of your projects to work on when, you will again benefit from focusing on one side project at a time, rather than trying to divide your attention between all of them at once. To decide which of your projects you want to prioritize first, it can be useful to do some math and to look into your projected time to completion versus the potential profit of the project. In other words, then, if you have a lengthy project that is something of a labor of love for you, then you may want to deprioritize this and focus on the shorter and more immediate profitable tasks. If you finish the smaller tasks first and these start bringing in profits, then you'll increase your overall turnover much more quickly than you would working on a lengthy and risky project initially. Once you have built up some success and experience, you can then turn your attention to the more ambitious concepts. Of course, there is always the chance that if one of your smaller side projects takes off in too big a way, it could end up preventing you from ever focusing on your dream projects. While profits are important, and it's good for business to use the above method, it's equally important to make sure that any projects you spend time on fit your company's mission statement. If you can't get passionate about it, then you have no business doing it. Steps to a better lifestyle. So for the burned-out blogger or the internet marketing maniac, here are some steps to enjoying a better work-life balance. Create a business model with a stable revenue stream and a passion project. Bootstrap. Know precisely how much you need to earn to fund your lifestyle and your passion projects. Likewise, know the lifestyle you want to live and consider a digital marketing strategy to achieve that. This might mean becoming a digital nomad, but think it through carefully. Earn that amount each day. Then switch focus. Work on one side project at a time. Make sure it is something that you love doing. Make sure it is something with a good risk-reward ratio. Start out with fail-fast, smaller business projects in order to learn and to start bringing in more passive income. Do not spend months and months on a sales funnel for your first project. Gradually switch the balance from the grind to those passion projects. Create multiple revenue streams. Look after your mental and physical health. Keep the mental discipline to avoid the temptation to keep working and to separate your work and your life. Meditation can be hugely beneficial. Eat, sleep, exercise. Dress for the job you want. Invest in yourself, in a great home office and a great, powerful computer for working on. Go to coffee shops to escape your own environment. You can travel more without necessarily becoming a digital nomad. Find the passion. Become a content creator more than a marketer. Don't expect overnight success. Remove the pressure. This means writing a strict schedule to define when you work on which projects, as well as when you'll finish work. And this is what all of this really comes down to. Discipline. With discipline and passion, you will be able to tame this mighty beast and make digital marketing work for you. Then, anything is possible.